Yeah, 28 camping killers rolling up in big black entity hooks, balanced landing. Cohen Farm is under siege, under lockdown. Whoa, DBD Mobile, Dead by Daylight Mobile, free to play, came out April 16th with over 1 million downloads? Wait a minute. A mobile game of an already existing game that's actually surprisingly good? No. Now you say it ain't so. You talking out. Listen here. Listen here, partner, you be talking out of your ass. I ain't. God damn it, I ain't. It's got upgraded UI and upgraded UX. Yeah, it's not just UI, there's a UX in there as well. It's available like almost all worldwide. My God. And with it, I can body folks anywhere and anytime on my horse, in the back of my truck, in a grave. I can play DBD Mobile in a grave. Dead by Daylight Mobile, the sponsor for this video. Check it out in the description and give it a shot. Because it's literally Dead by Daylight, but on your phone. And you know, that's pretty cool. Good day, you survivors hidden beneath your pounds of salt, fog, and broken space bars. My name is Bricky, and welcome to the Dead by Daylight Casefile featuring the Deathslinger, or better known as the Yeehaw Boy. Yeah, we big boys now. Green screen up in here, rootin' tootin' cowboy hat, $15 Walking Dead gun I got at Target. Here to talk to you about the newest Dead by Daylight killer that's been released. So go ahead, grab yourself some whiskey, pop a squat, get your good boots going, and let's discuss some Dead by Daylight. I'm not gonna do this accent the whole video. All right, no more, and like no more gun, because like. Caleb Quinn was a struggling Irish immigrant, always looking for work. His father was a master mechanic, but due to that discrimination, he wasn't able to find a whole lot of places to work. But after some time, he slapped a wrench in his son's hand and said, "Let's build some shit." With time and practice, the discrimination they felt as Irish immigrants just completely faded away, as everybody wanted their hands on the master mechanic Caleb Quinn. First one, specifically, is a man named Henry, who had him go work for the railroad. Henry Bayshore. Henry Bayshore got him that job, and through that job, he developed many cool new things. A railway spike gun, a cool tunneling drill, neon lights for the 3 a.m. times. He was a pretty damn intelligent guy. But soon after the Bayshore company was feigning innocence, it seemed that all of his other designs were popping up everywhere. And then he realized that Bayshore had been taking all of his patents and selling them underneath his nose. That resentment he had when he was younger started boiling up, and he marched right into Henry Bayshore's office, grabbed the back of his head, and pounded his face into the desk until his face stopped resembling a face. It took multiple men to pull him off of him, but not until he took that drill gun and fired a stake right through the chest of Henry Bayshore. The only way Caleb escaped the hangman's noose was because Bayshore miraculously lived. 15 years in prison instead at a penitentiary. He soon became good friends with the warden, because the warden was like, "Hey, build me shit to torture people with," and Caleb was like, "Fuck yeah," for some extra meals and stuff. And soon, their relationship began to blossom. Not sexually, but then again, who knows, it was the Wild West. But soon, that warden promised him something. He said, "I want to be a rich, powerful man, and I want you to help me do it. For your freedom, you keep this place filled, but you bring them alive." Caleb only had one condition: frame the still living Henry Bayshore and get him in prison instead, or bring him to him. The deal struck. Caleb went to work on his drill gun, but instead turned it into a makeshift spear gun. He found his first bounty, took a shot, and it went clean through the man's chest and ripped out all of his insides. Yeehaw, boys, we've made a fucky wucky. Soon, he perfected it, and instead of dead folks, he brought back alive folks, and he kept the prison stocked. In return, the warden ended up releasing multiple other Irish inmates, and that became the new gang. The Hellshire Gang worked for a long 6 years, collecting bounties everywhere they could, bringing them in alive to keep the warden's pockets fat. But then he read in the paper one day, the warden of Hellshire Penitentiary sold it to Henry Bayshore. The double-crossing son of a bitch gave the entire prison directly to Henry because that was his plan all along. Furious, like beyond words, Caleb and his gang stormed into the penitentiary, immediately killing the guard and going to the warden's office to find, fortunately, not just the warden, but Henry there as well. Him and his gang went to town on them until every bone was broken and until their face wasn't recognizable by even their mother. Hands and nails clawing at flesh until they grabbed the both of them and threw them into the middle of the block to let the rest of the inmates have their go. Caleb went back to his cell, bloodied and bruised, blood dripping from his fingertips, and then a fog curled around his feet, showing him a path. And through that path, he saw all the people who had wronged him, the boys in school, the people who didn't let his father have any work, all the people who shit on him all his life, and he saw a trail of blood he could make with them. And so Caleb walked that road, leaving that trail of blood behind him. Yeehaw. Okay, so gameplay, the shit you're here for. Mr. Caleb is a 110 movement speed killer. He is also 24 meter terror radius, normal range and lunge stats, but he is a tall boy. And his ability is the Redeemer Prime. Right-clicking will have you aim down those sights. And after aiming down those sights, you can press the left click and fire out your spear gun. Hit an enemy, you immediately stun them for a very short period of time, and then you can reel them in, pulling up all of your yeah boys as you get them closer to you. Get them close enough, give them a whack, set them on their way, and do it again. However, you gotta watch out for obstacles. Too much tension on that chain, survivors pulling them in front of terrain, that's gonna snap the chain and stun you. When you don't want that, especially when you've only got one in the chamber. Black Ops 1. So every miss really hurts, so you better make that damn Redeemer count. Now, that's all fine and dandy when it comes to the Redeemer, but what about those high-powered yeehaw strats, alright? If you want to get good with this killer, if you want to get good with that Redeemer, you need to take some time to practice. Because this thing's got a skill ceiling that I love to death. So let's talk about some fancy pants bullshit. The weapon has a fast ADS time. This shit pops quick as hell. However, it is not a hit scan weapon. What does hit scan mean? Well, hit scan is basically the idea that your bullets will immediately teleport to their target instantaneously. This is something you see very common in games like Call of Duty. So when you click on somebody, there's no travel time of any kind. However, this, since it is not, is a projectile weapon, which means you are going to need to lead your shots just a little bit, depending on what direction they're going. Clicking on them directly ain't gonna cut it. You actually gotta time this shit because it does have a travel time. In fact, that travel time is about 40 meters a second, which is the exact same as fully charged Huntress hatchets. So if you know how to play Huntress with your fully charged hatchets and you know exactly the speed of it, you're gonna get a lot better at the Deathslinger. This spear though only has an 18 meter distance, so if you wanna get good at it, you need to understand Bunny Mama, distance, and Yeehaw Daddy. However, when you're aiming down sights, you get movement speed reduced by 25%. So what does all this mean? Well, it's a 3-step process on a flow chart when it comes to playing the Deathslinger. Step 1, join FaZe Clan. Quickscoping is your best friend in the beginning. Due to your extremely fast ADS speed, the ability for the survivors to juke you the moment you pop it up with a 0.125 second aim down sight speed is basically impossible. They are entirely relying on reads. So your ability to quickscope and know exactly where your center reticle is and just go pop, pop, pop is very helpful and very important. You need to get good at that real quick. However, as the survivors get a little bit better, they'll see you pop into it and then they'll immediately use something to try to stop you. They'll either dive to the right, they'll dead hard, they'll do something. Now, of course, they have to be looking at you if they want to get that properly, so that could have them run into stuff and you can kind of screw with them that way, or more primarily, you can pop into ADS in order to bait them, which which is my favorite thing. You pop in there, they use their dead hard, and in reality, all you do is go bop bop, and you keep on walking. See, the thing is, the longer you ADS, the longer time you spend down there, you move slower, and so long as you're down there, you're not moving as fast as survivors are. And you also only got one shot. Messing that up means about a 3 to 4 second reload time, and that can be really detrimental in a big important spot. When this guy came out, it really showed which streamers were good at FPS games, because some people would demolish, some people would absolutely suck with him, and that's all because of your FPS skills. I myself was Halo and COD for a while, and so naturally I was getting a little bit better at him than normal, but after enough time playing some Valorant, I'm crisp. Practice aim drills if you really want to get good. It's not necessary, but I found that aim drills can be extremely helpful, and that might be the best thing for you. Now, once you get good at aiming, we get to step 2, which is playing hooky. Say you hooked them. Now what do? You want to reel them in. Now, how do you reel them in efficiently? Surprisingly, walking backwards while reeling them in is actually more beneficial to you. It gives them less leeway. However, sometimes you do want to walk forwards if you want to get a smaller distance between you and the target, say over a window or something. But normally, you'll be walking backwards. Now, what's that survivor going to do? They are going to find as many obstacles in their path as possible. They want to make it so that you, sir, cannot pull them to you, because your goal is to get them right here. You want them right by that dick for some express CBT. You can maneuver yourself as much as you'd like. You gotta try to get them away from terrain. So long as that chain is in terrain, that chain's gonna snap. And when that chain snaps, bad things happen. So here's a scenario. You have 2 options. 1, you reel them in and they end up right there for express CBT. What do? You immediately click lunge and you hit them. Lunging will break the chain. However, by the time they're there, you'll hit them before they can actually act on anything. Doing so, if they are healthy, will end up putting them in the injured state and giving them deep wound. If they are injured when you do this, that's a down. Now, the chain is about to snap. What do? Well, you've got 2 options, actually. First things first, just keep on reeling. Let it happen. Let it snap. Because the thing is that if they are completely healthy and that chain snaps, then you actually still injure them. Now, if you break that chain yourself by lunging, no injured for you. You do need to deal with a 4-second stun afterwards, but I'd honestly say that most of the time, getting that injured proc is worth it. Now, if they're already injured and that chain snaps, it won't down them, but it will give them deep wounds. Almost like a little compensation thing. Now, when exactly is the time where you just don't want to let it snap? Well, it would be that deep wound scenario. I'd say a lot of us can agree that getting the injured is important. However, if they are already injured, is that deep wounds really worth it? I don't know. If you're not hurting on time, snap, 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 you get in there deep, boy. Though if you are, maybe it's best that you cut the chain and you don't have that 4-second stun. Maybe instead you spend that 4 seconds to reload your gun so you can try to get another shot in a more advantageous position. So now you know how to shoot, you know how to reel. Now what's the last part? Well, glory holes. A cowboy's best friend. One thing that makes Caleb here surprisingly effective is his ability to shut down window loops. You see this right there? That's a window. This ain't a wall. That's a window. Just like how you can get some cheeky over-the-top hits as killers, you can fire through it because you have a gun. And when you fire through it, you can reel them right there and you can hit them immediately. Now, it takes some getting used to, and it's something that a lot of people tend to forget is something you even can do. But the ability to fire through things and being able to hit them across the way can be so helpful, especially with things like the shack run. Pallets, unfortunately, do not work. I think that's fine. That would be kind of busted. But you need to figure out what holes are good holes. Which one of those holes you are allowed to penetrate so you can pull a survivor in and you can eat that ass prime rib, medium rare, garlic, and rosemary. After you learn these 3 steps, you are on your way to being a master gunslinger. Deathslinger. Whatever. But I could talk about add-ons and stuff, but does a cowboy really care what boots he wears? Yeah. Yeah, he does. But are the boots really going to be the main thing that affects the outcome of a fight? Maybe. Maybe it will. But this ain't real life. So the add-ons for him, you can take them, you can leave them. Take reload speed for more penetration, take increased reeling speed for faster CBT, and any of the other afflictions if you're just kind of feeling sassy. What about his perks, though? Well, first on our list, we have Ruin Out Them Sneaky Sneaks. Gearhead is a special perk that after hitting a survivor 2 times, it ends up showing the auras of all generators that have had a good skill check complete for a certain period of time. Now, this is fine, I suppose. It's a little bit mediocre. I'd say it's mainly just because you're competing for so many other tracking and generator perks, and there's really no reason why not to run Discordance or perhaps just Surveillance, or any of those if I'm being honest. And also the 2-hit requirement is a little bit weird. As far as I know, it could be good if you need the information, but Deathslinger, just take Thrilling Tremors or something. It's basically the same but better. Second up, we have too many attempts to log in, please try again later. Dead Man Switch happens when you hook an obsession, and for the next 45 seconds, I believe, any generator that somebody stops working on will immediately be locked up by the entity for the remainder of that 45 seconds. Now, this on paper sounds pretty alright, but I think it could use a little bit of a tweak. Mainly the issue is it's after that 45 seconds is post-hook. So if you hook somebody and they let go of the generator 30 seconds after you hook somebody, then it's only 15-second of clamp time. And honestly, I feel like that's just not quite enough. If you really want to kind of stick it to them and you really want to make this a top-tier competitive perk, I say you do one of 2 things. 1, you make it 30 seconds flat across the board and for only 30 seconds after hooking, and then it does the entire thing. So if they let go of the generator 29 seconds after you hook somebody, that gen is going to stay locked off for the full 30. Or you can mess with the values, maybe only 20 seconds, but regardless, have it the full duration instead of being kind of locked by that 45. Or secondly, make it so the gens regress during that period of time. I think it'd be kind of nice. One of the things I always liked is being able to kick a generator and then immediately hit someone with Thrilling Tremors or something so that they can't work on it again. I think if you really want to make this competitive, make it so that when they let go after Dead Man Switch, you clasp it, and then it starts regressing a little bit. Maybe it doesn't even have to be at full regression, maybe only 50%, but regardless, I think that would make it a really competitive perk and a hell of a lot more fun to use. Finally, we have Hex Oopsie. So when you cleanse a dull totem, you become oblivious for quite a long time. However, if you cleanse a lit totem, including that totem, all survivors' auras are revealed for about 10 seconds. Now this on its own, yeah, give or take, doesn't really matter. This with Haunted Grounds is laughably funny. However, it does have the problem with that's half your build. Haunted Grounds and this perk are literally 2 of your 4 perks. So you're really putting all your eggs in one basket. If you want to go for a full Hex perk build, you run Ruin, maybe Devour Hope or something, maybe just Thrill the Hunt, and then those 2 perks, oh, that's a good time, that's a great time. But then you're not running all the really, really good perks, and then you're probably going to be struggling a little bit. Fun? Sure. Optimal? I don't really know. I don't know any good way to buff this one, but try it with Haunted Grounds. It's really fun. Okay, but let's talk about that Mori, right? Deep wounds, more like deep throat. Oh, my shoulder! So where do I think Caleb stands right now in the meta? Well, honestly, we've finally hit a point where I don't think generators are that much of an issue anymore. Well, for about half the cast. And while I'm not quite sure if I'd call it completely fixed, I'd say it's a huge step in the right direction, and I think they did a damn good job. The problem is that it's great for about half of the cast, and the other half are still going to have a really hard time. Unfortunately, it seems that us, the chonky boys, okay, the chonky chili boy, the chonky honky boy, the beef sticks, all of us beef boys are being discriminated against. The chub, the beef, all trying to huff and puff their way to generators, unable to stop them in time. Disgusting. The Deathslinger could have gone something. He could have gone something. He could have shot the wall and reeled himself in and get a cool movement speed where he pulls himself there where he's like, yo, Dwight! Memes aside, he's in that unfortunate spot of really, really fun, but unfortunately a little bit weak. You got just a bit of a problem where people like him, who has a good gun and his ability is great, but he is still just a 110 movement speed killer with no way to get around. And because of that, he is still going to struggle against coordinated teams or gens in general. However, there's no real way to fix that, because anything you do to those coordinated teams or to those generators will entirely buff the shit out of all these people. and they're all doing fine. If you want to get these people better, you kind of have to make these people better, and that's probably not a good idea, so I don't know what to do at the moment. End of the day, I think I would point at fun more than optimal, and I would rather play fun more than optimal any day of the week, and the Deathslinger is really, really fun. If you want to have a good time, that's Caleb. Caleb is having more fun than a nun in a cucumber field, all right? He is a cool man. Thank you so much for watching my case file. My name's been Bricky. If you're wondering if I was ever going to make any more, I don't really have an answer for you. The last couple of videos I've made, I've been like really, really proud of. I've had a great reception. I'm enjoying myself a hell of a lot more. Am I going to make more like this? I'm going to give you a solid maybe. No idea. Honestly, don't expect them. Don't expect one coming out, but if I do make one, then consider it a happy surprise. This one in particular, Deathslinger, is actually really, really dang fun, and I'm pretty happy to play more of him, but don't expect anything in the future, all right? Just be surprised when it does happen and be happy when it does. Don't expect it, and you will never be disappointed. Life motto. Thank you again to Dead by Daylight Mobile for sponsoring this video. It's really nice to be able to have a sponsor for a game that I not only enjoy so much, but already pretty much play, which is it's like a dream come true right there. It is actually surprisingly really good. I normally, hit or miss on mobile games, but I found it actually to be surprisingly solid. And considering that it's free to play, it's also really, really helpful. And I like the redesigns they did to make it a lot more compatible with your phone. So I'd highly recommend giving a look-see. Again, in the description, check it out. And with that, I will see you all later and keep on penetrating. Yeehaw.